everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about living alone. And I guess this is now a series where I talk about life and things that I'm learning in my 20s so far. And this is a very fun topic because I never thought that I would be here this early. I didn't think that I would be living alone at 26, but here we are. And the story of how I even got here is crazy because the Lord is just amazing like that. Previously, before I lived here, I lived with my best friend Olivia, and the year before that, I lived with her and Mia, my other best friend. And so living with other people was just always something that I planned on doing because financially it just made sense, and living with my besties, like that's so fun, and it was. But mid-March, I think it was 2022, I felt the Lord tell me not to renew my lease with Liv, and it was one of the most interesting conversations ever because I didn't want to tell her, but I also felt strongly that that was what the Lord was telling me to do at the time, and I didn't even know what was going to happen after that. I didn't know where I was going to stay. I didn't know the budget that I had. I knew I didn't have a big budget, and so I was kind of stressing out about where to live, and all the places that I was looking at was just either too expensive or a shoebox. And I was just like, God, where am I supposed to live? Am I supposed to live with someone else? And I was just like, I didn't know. But then my friend Danielle had found the place where I live now, and the Lord actually put it in her heart to reach out to me about that place. And funnily enough, a lot of people from our church/community now live here. And so it's been such a blessing to live literally physically in community. Liv lives upstairs. There's almost a person on every floor that I know. And we just all get to live in the same place as one another. And we have a group chat, and it's like, oh, who needs a ride to church? Does anyone have sugar? Does anyone have a pan? Literally the randomest things. And it's such a fun time. But yeah, so ever since living alone, I've learned a lot about myself. And you learn a lot about yourself living with other people, but you also learn a lot about yourself when you live alone. So here are a few things that I learned. Number one, I am still an introvert. Most of my life, I've known that I was an introvert, and just because I love being in my own space. I love resting by myself. I love just spending time by myself. I feel like it calms me down. I can think more. I'm a mental internal processor, and so I can literally just sit there and just sit in one place and just think through my thoughts. And it might look like I'm staring off into space, but there's dialogue happening in my mind. And so living alone is a great space for that because there's no pressure to engage in conversation or anything like that. But I've always been an introvert, and now that I live in my own space, and after having lived here for a year, I have very much learned that I appreciate having my own space to come back to retreat to, and just to find peace in. As soon as I enter in, it's quiet, it's still, and most of the time it is. If not, then I'm blasting worship music or something like that. So I'm an introvert, and I like being alone, but I also found out that I love to host. I love to have people over, have one-on-ones with people, conversations, cook for people, host small groups. I think our reach groups are starting back up, which is a form of life groups for most churches. So I'm excited to host that again. It's just amazing for me to have girls over and to pour into them and to use this space to bless them in that way. I never used to be a host though, because when I was living with Liv and Mia, I just kind of let them do the hosting and the preparation and just tending to people, because they were just really naturally good at it. And so I just let them be good at what they're good at. And so now that I have my own space, I kind of have to be the one to do all of that. And I thought I thought I was gonna not like that, or I thought it would be very difficult for me personally to do that, because I don't usually do that sort of thing, but I guess the Lord changed my heart to be able to host people and to tend to people and care for people in that way in my own space. I found that that's a great way to pour into people, just to allow for them to enter into a place and feel peaceful right away and to be at rest right away. And so that's been really fun for me to do. My friends and I decorated my place for someone's birthday, and I was able to, gift that to her, like the space wise. And we decorated it all cute with hearts all over the place, and it was just really sweet. And I love seeing the people that I love in one place. I've also had a bunch of worship nights here, which is a tender spot in my heart, just to fill up the space with worship and songs to the Lord, and prayers. And it's just been a wonderful time to host. So yeah. And the second thing that I've learned is that, this is so funny, but I have no excuse not to get into shape, because there is a gym in this apartment. And so I literally have no excuse. I can't say, oh, it's too cold outside, it's too hot outside, or I don't have a gym membership. There's literally a gym upstairs. And so, yeah, funnily enough though, I am running outside now because it's fall. And so, we gotta enjoy the cool breeze. But yeah, I literally have no excuse. And it has been really nice to be able to just roll out of bed and go upstairs and use the gym. I definitely am very much more motivated. And that was one of the things that I asked the Lord for, is God, I really would love, my elbow. I really would love for a space to have a gym so that I don't have to pay for another membership. And it's just here because I do want to prioritize my health a lot more in my mid-20s, because you know how it is, my back, my knees. I'm not trying to, have it a lot worse than it could be in the future. So I just want to take care of my temple right now. Number 3, less is still more when it comes to decoration and the things that I've put into my apartment. I found that I've always been more of a minimalist, and not that I'm more of a minimalist now, but it's just I'm less inclined to buy things for my house in the long run, because I'm good with what I have. I've actually not yet put any nails into the walls of this apartment. I have one picture hanging on the wall, and it is held up by command strips. I have 2 other frames that I have yet to put up in the bathroom. They've literally been on the floor of my bathroom for a year now. It actually has been a year that they have been in the same corner. Maybe I will put some nails on the wall. Anyway, I found that when I first came into this place, I was very pressured to get everything in order. I feel like that's how I was in my previous homes. My room always had to be done in a week. I would just buy everything that I needed to buy and then just get it sorted out so that I can settle in with the decorations that I want and everything. But with this place, I took a lot of time. Months before, I was looking for pieces on Facebook Marketplace and just checking prices on Amazon to see if it could get any lower and stuff like that. And because of that, when I moved in, I had the essentials. My couch was from Facebook Marketplace, my rug someone gave me, and a lot of the furniture, stools and divider, a friend gave me. And so I didn't really need to buy much. The pieces of investment for me was the couch and the rug, but I was gonna wait because I didn't want to buy a $200, $300 rug, because I couldn't, I'm not with this budget. And so I waited a little bit, and then I was able to get a rug a couple months in, and it was on sale, and it was most definitely worth it. And then I kept track of a mirror on Amazon for a couple months too, and I was able to get the mirror for literally 40% off. And so I just found that, I don't know, because I'm living alone, I have less of a pressure on myself to set everything up exactly the way that I wanted it to be. And I kind of have enjoyed adding to the space little by little, and to even like challenge myself to ask myself, do I really need to have that, or do I really need to do that? And just like recognizing that I have all that I need and I don't really need any more. Yes, it would be nice to have like shelves up here or there, but right now I'm just like, I don't think I need it right now. And if I'm still thinking about it in a couple months, sure. But I found that like having what I have and giving space to like fill it up slowly has been really blessing me. Like, because I didn't have a lot of clutter, like when my friend Melvin didn't have space for his keyboard anymore, he gave it to me and I had space to fit it in here. Had I had filled it up already, I wouldn't have space for it. But, you know, just little things like that, saving money, not going into too much debt for, you know, refurbishing an apartment. Like, if that is worth it to you, then do it, because like, you know, your space is special. But I found that for me, like, I'm willing to wait for things because it makes it more satisfying when you find like a cheaper deal or you don't buy something full price, personally, for me. Number 4, living alone has made me have to be very intentional with my friendships because I don't live with my best friend anymore. I have to go out of my way to hang out with her. And not even that, like when we were living together, like we just went out to do everything together. And so I always had someone there. I was always hanging out with her. But when I am living alone, when you live alone, you have the freedom to just be by yourself all the time. And as an introvert, I have found that there were some moments that I just was too introverted, and I felt the Lord tugging me at my heart, and it got a little selfish because I got in my own little bubble. I was like, well, nobody can bother me. I don't have to worry about anyone else. But literally, that's a little selfish because my time is not even mine. My time is the Lord's. This life is the Lord's. And if He wanted me to serve someone or speak life into them, like, I have to be quick to listen and to pay attention to Holy Spirit to see like who I was meant to be hanging out with, who was I supposed to be pouring into, and who was I supposed to be letting pour into me because I need it too. And so it was amazing to have like a bunch of like one-on-ones with people, to hang out with people, and the conversations were a lot more in depth and like not surface level. We get down to the nitty-gritty. We pray for each other. We, you know, just speak things into the light, and like going on walks with each other, going on runs with each other, working out, watching movies, and just like being intentional of saying like, hey, I want to spend time with you. Quality time is also one of my love languages. And so I had to, you know, see like what the balance was, because I know I physically couldn't hang out with everyone. But I also couldn't be alone 24/7, 7 days a week, every month of the year. Living in the same building with your friends is definitely very convenient for that. I've had lots of movie nights and just like girls' nights and stuff like that. So it has been very sweet. Yeah, intentionality is never a bad idea. So living alone definitely pushes you towards that. And I have been very grateful. Number 5, you are in charge of maintaining and cleaning your space. So that is very self-explanatory. I have been a person who was able to sleep at night if there were still dishes in the sink. Like literally, I'd be okay. My old roommate, Liv, she would not be able to sleep if there was anything out of place before she went to sleep. I have started to get those tendencies, not to that extent where I can't sleep, but I have gotten to a point where it would bother me. And so living alone has definitely pushed me to be a lot cleaner. I mean, it's not that I was like a crazy messy person, but I think I had trouble initially with laundry because I hate laundry. I hate laundry with all of my heart. And when I still lived with Liv, she literally would do laundry voluntarily. Like she would literally be like, I could fold your laundry for you. She just loved doing that. I was very blessed. But maybe the Lord wanted me to learn to do that by myself. I definitely can do laundry by myself. I just don't like doing it. So there were some parts, like some months of the year, I forget where it was, but like I was so busy and I didn't want to do laundry. So I would do it and then not put everything back to where it needed to be. And so I would just have piles of clean clothes. It was clean clothes, but because they were just in piles, I would not know where anything was. And it was a little stressful for some time there. And I was just like, okay, this cannot go on any longer. And then, I don't know, a switch went off in my head, and ever since then, I just kind of like, okay, I need to be on top of laundry and dishes. Like those things are, like I'm very good with like sweeping because I shed, like my hair is everywhere. My hair goes everywhere. And so I feel like I'm just naturally very good at sweeping and mopping and just making sure that surfaces are clean. But when it comes to dishes and making sure that there are no dishes in the sink and that my laundry is done and put away, that's the hard part. I will do the laundry and then just put it in a pile, and it is a clean pile, and then I tell myself that it's okay. But I can't do that anymore. So yeah. And I found that like when my space is clean, my headspace is better. Like my mental state is a lot better because then I'm not worried about just like having to do this and having to do that, and like knowing that it's going to take a long time to clean around and everything in between. So living alone has taught me that I need to be on top of cleaning the spaces around me, and I have gotten so much better at it. Like I have gotten so much better at it, and I have also found out that I love cleaning. Like I love the process of like sweeping and vacuuming and like literally mopping. Like that's my favorite thing to do. So yeah. Number 6, this is a little bit it's not a serious one, but it's a more serious one. It's that I had to learn that discipline needs to start before I get to a promise. And let me explain. Because before coming here, this ties in with what we were talking about in the last one where it was talking about cleaning on all that stuff. But then like the disciplines that I had to kind of keep up with in the space of living alone, it would have been a lot easier if I had already done those disciplines when I lived with other people. And some of it I did. It was just I gave myself a little more lax time when it came to dishes and stuff like that. But then I saw why it was so needed for me to have those disciplines down in order for me to be here and, live in a clean space. It comes with like, if I had already been in the mindset of like, oh, I clean once a month. I mean, I clean like once a week. I mop and whatever once a week. And I always do that with my other roommates. When I lived with other people, I would not find it very difficult to do that here. And I did it. And so just like learning those things, like when God gives you something to steward, like a lovely apartment, the disciplines, it would be a lot easier on you if you learned those things first and then you brought it in to the promise that the Lord gave you. And I saw that like here, I love the mornings in this apartment because the light that comes in is so beautiful, but I don't wake up early enough. And if I do wake up early enough, like I have to go to work right away. So either I have to get up even earlier than that, or I don't get to enjoy it. So I'm in this in between of like, darn it, I wish I was just naturally an early riser so that I can, enjoy the mornings a little more here. And so now I'm trying to do that. Like I'm trying to wake up way before my even early shift so that I can enjoy the sunrise. And so, yeah, like just so simple things like that, like learning how to have those disciplines for something that you pray for, and then so that once you get what you're praying for, like your lifestyle already matches that, and if anything, it improves that. Number 7, I have learned that quiet time in your own home is literally so divine because it is actually quiet and you don't have to tiptoe around. And when I first moved into this place, I was actually jobless. That's a whole nother story. I think that'll be a whole nother video, honestly. But when I moved in here, I had a good 2.5 months of just abiding here. And I loved every second of it. I was able to do worship videos in here and have Bible studies by myself, just soaking in the sunlight. And the quiet, and just enjoying my couch and looking out the window, these humongous windows. Quiet time alone with the Lord literally is quiet time because nobody else is making sound. I have really enjoyed that. I know that that's not common for a lot of people who live at home or live with other people. So I fully understand that this is such a privilege to be able to spend this much quality time with the Lord. In my own space. And so I'm soaking it all in. I'm deeply thankful and blessed to be able to be in this space and just to commune with the Lord in this way. But I have fallen in love with it. And I even now I'm trying to cherish it more with having more intentional time with the Lord at home. I like to take walks and do that stuff, but I feel like I want to, in this next season, just to spend a lot of time in the home, just to abide once again. Here in Psalm 26:8, it says, "O Lord, I love the habitation of your house, the place where your glory dwells." When I first moved in here, this was one of the verses that the Lord brought me to, and he was just highlighting to me that this is his home too, and that it is also where his glory dwells. He abides in me, he abides here, and he lives here. And I was just so taken back with the way that the Lord fills up homes with his presence. And so I was able to really soak that in. But yeah, I really loved that quiet time was actually quiet time here. And I will cherish it for as long as I am here for. Number 8, last but not least, when living alone, you really have to stay on top and disciplined in finances, because naturally you are paying for everything by yourself. And it has been a stretching season for me, a year of managing finances for someone who lives alone. It hasn't been easy, but the Lord has been faithful, and I've been able to learn a lot. It has kept me, diligent, and so I just had to budget. I had to stay on top of my budget, write out all the things that my expenses, my bills, and I had to know what that number was, and I had to see how much was coming in and then to delegate. And so it just taught me how to be on top of my finances, but also going back to the not getting everything at once, buying everything for your apartment. I had to really be honest with myself and say, do I really need this? Do I not need this? Is this just a want? Etc., etc. And I have cut back a lot on my spending, and I think that that is a very great thing, because a lot in life, I actually don't need all of the stuff that I think that I need. And so it's been really good to be a little bit more financially literate. I had to look up a lot of financial videos just for advice and stuff on how to manage my money so that I can stay on top of it. And a little bit about this apartment. When I first moved in, some tips and tricks along the way that I learned was that whenever you're paying for, especially Xfinity, because Xfinity will always try to upcharge you, or they'll try to get you with upping the price when you don't notice. So I have always bought my own modem wherever I lived. So unless they made you, buy a certain thing or rent a certain one. But here you can buy your own modem. So I calculated the cost of what my internet expense would be with renting versus with buying my own modem, and buying was so much cheaper and I could use it again. So I ended up buying my own modem and saving up a lot of money. But I just found out that this new year they upped the charge. And so I called them and I was like, hey, what's this? And they were like, oh yeah, the promotion ended, yada, yada, yada. And I threatened to cut off my services. I was like, you know what? I'm done. I don't want the service anymore. And they were like, wait, let me see what we could do to get it to the same price or lower. And lo and behold, they were able to find something for technically even lower. So I stayed while saving money on this next year. If I hadn't checked, if I hadn't kept up with my finances and just was looking at what's coming in, what's coming out when it came to bills and stuff like that, I would not have caught that. But praise the Lord, thank God we did. And another trick or tip, well, this is kind of outside living alone, but it has helped me keep the bills low, is that my internet service is called Visible. And it is so cheap. I have never paid cheaper, unlimited phone, charges. But I paid $25 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. And I also think I get my own hotspot. But when I was living in England, I was only paying $12. So when I came back, and I was like, I am not about to pay $60 for Comcast. I'm not about to pay $60 for T-Mobile. And so I did a little digging, and Visible is actually under Verizon, and it's month to month. You don't have to, sign a contract or anything, and it's literally unlimited everything, and it's only $25 a month. So I've been saving my monthly bills because of only spending $25 a month. So I can link that below if you're interested in that. But yeah, having to look at all of my finances, just paying more attention to it has actually helped me so much. Obviously, finances isn't everything because the Lord provides, and He is a great dad who takes care of us, and I have never lacked anything. But He also has called me to steward my money, and living alone, I feel like not the pressure, but the call to higher discipline was implemented on every aspect of my life, not just with my finances. It was with my time, it was with my music, it was with my health, it was with my relationship with Him. Just He's like, I've given you the space to steward. How are you going to use it? And I have been enjoying the journey so far. I love living alone, and if you can, it's great. You learn a lot about yourself, as you can see, and honestly, you become a better person for it. I feel like I have become a better version of myself through living alone. And I think in the future, I would love to talk to my friend Olivia about this too, because she's an extrovert. So I would love to hear her thoughts on this. But yeah, it has been one of the biggest blessings ever. And I will stay here as long as the Lord allows me to. He brought me in when I didn't think that I could. He literally was like, you're not signing your lease and with your other roommate. And I was like, okay, all right, Lord. But instead, He brought me here to host worship nights and girls' nights and throw birthday parties and host reach groups here and to make coffee for people here. And I've also been able to host friends from abroad here, and I'm hosting more friends from abroad come next month. And it has been such a joy. It just reminds me of the Church of Acts, where they just provided everything. They shared everything. All of my friends who live in this apartment as well, we share things and we borrow this and we ask for that, and everyone is so willing to provide for one another, and it's just been very, very sweet. So yeah, I cannot wait to see you guys next time. I don't know what we're going to talk about next time, but I think I'm really enjoying this series. So let me know in the comments if you want to talk about another topic pertaining to the 20s, your 20s, or whatever. Oh, also, if you like this cute sweater, it is from a brand called God's Love Overcomes, and you can get 10% off with my code. So I will put a link down below if you want to shop more cute Christian attire. And on that note, I will see you guys next time. Love you.